all the plant chores with some of my fanciest of plants. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name is Rose, my pronouns are she, her, and today we're gonna do a lot of repotting with some of my most amazing plants, like this one. This needs to be moved to semi-hydro. We're gonna do some stuff with moss poles, and we're gonna water and fertilize because it is Friday, my watering day. And I'm so excited to say that this video is sponsored by Farbio, a fertilizer brand that is made in Germany and sounds incredible. I'll tell you a little bit more about them as we start. Ooh, and if you have plant chores to do, this is the time. Grab your chores and let's do them together. Or if you prefer, just chill and watch me work. You may notice I have switched shirts so that I can have the mic on there without any issues. Watering can. Luckily we had some rain in the past few days. We had not had any in like 4 or 6 weeks, I don't even know. For Holland that doesn't happen very often, so everything is super dry, but luckily we have some fresh rainwater to water all the plants. Since it is the growing season, I am currently fertilizing every other week usually, sometimes a little bit more even. And I was very excited when this brand reached out to me because they actually value sustainability, they are certified organic, and most of their products are even vegan. It smells a bit like apple juice, but with like fermentation in it. This is one of the bigger bottles. The smaller bottles come with their own pipette thingy. This one doesn't, so I use a separate pipette, or you can use the lid as well. The 3 products that they currently have are the normal fertilizer. It's all in German, but the website you can actually click at the bottom English and then you can understand everything, because I do speak some German, but these technical terms are not easy. And then they have the Bio Boost, which is extra nitrogen to help your leaves grow. I'm especially using this as a foliar spray in my terrarium. I'll show you in a little bit. And then the last one is the Micro Complex, which offers protection and healing to your plants. I see it like we eat our regular food and then we also take some vitamins. That vitamins part is what this is in my brain. That's my own analogy. This is especially helpful in winter or if you have a plant pest to help protect your collection. And I love how it looks because it's kind of like my morning green smoothies. Look at that. Also, I just noticed this plant is growing a new leaf. That is amazing because I just got this a few days ago in the mail. It was shipped to me by Stephanie Groeninhuis. Look at it. This is an actual frydek, a variegated frydek. I had no idea it would immediately start growing a new leaf. That is impressive. Maybe I shouldn't repot it then? I'll think about it. I didn't film this, I think, but I chopped my gloriosum up and repotted it. And it is currently growing all over the place. There is new baby leaves, there's new big leaves. Look at this. As you may know, I love using I don't even know what you call it, a measuring thingy that you stick into the soil to check whether it needs water or not. I feel for me it is the easiest because it's actual measuring and not just guessing. And it shows me that it's actually really quite dry, even though I thought it was pretty moist. So let's water it. We have a heat wave, or we had a heat wave here. It was about 30 degrees for a week. So all the plants are drying out quite quickly. Oh, there is a very stuck leaf over here. Can you see it? Look at that. We're definitely gonna free that. I'm gonna find the opening of the petiolar sheath, which I have here. And then just open both sides carefully. This is quite easy because I sprayed it already and it wants to come out. Sometimes I break the petiolar sheath a little bit, but here, oh, there it goes already. Did you see? Popped out. So now I'm not gonna move it anymore because it's out, and I'm not gonna try and fold the bended stem. There we go, baby. Rescue mission complete. 1 week later, the stem has fully straightened out and the leaf looks great too. Yay! With also just having been watered, this should work out great. Checking Ferry, who I also watered. Yeah, this is plenty watered. I do want to show you him up close because he's been growing some amazing leaves. Look, here's another one growing on the mama plant. This was the newest leaf on the top cutting. Since we're here, let me show you my Thai constellation. Wait, I have to step back. There you go, because it is growing a new leaf. Look, there it is. And this Thai has been alternating between a half moonish leaf and then a normal leaf. And it is the turn for the half moonish leaf, so I'm excited to see it. This does not need water. I watered it recently. I'm just using some little sticks to help root some of the aerial roots back into the soil. So I'm circling it back into the pot. Okay, that should work. Good luck, dice. I've only been using these products for about a month, so my experience with them is not proven yet. As Jan likes to say, the proof is in the pudding. It is not yet in the pudding, but I'm working on it. I did really like reading about the products on their website. They work with macro and micronutrients. They have their own development team that has like 30 years of experience and their own production. So it just sounded really good with all the things that I value, and I was happy they reached out to collaborate. As I water the rest of my plants, because that's not super interesting to watch, I just wanted to share a huge discount code that they are offering us, 30% off your order with the code PLANTWITHROSE. This is not an affiliate link, it does not make me any money, but it does show the company that it's worth working with me. So if you're open to trying a new fertilizer, or maybe your first fertilizer, I think this one is a good one to test out. I will link their company in the description. PLANTWITHROSE is the code. And a big thank you to them for working with me. My huge crystallinum is also making a new leaf, which maybe you can see here, but maybe not. Whee! And it was making a flower, but I broke that off because I don't want flowers. I mean, I want flowers, but not on my Anthurium. This is also very dry. Dry plants. Anyone else always throw water everywhere when you're watering the plants? Watering the house as well. The little baggies, they are how I treat pests. These are little good bugs that help with the bad bugs, but after 6 weeks they don't work anymore. So the old ones I'm throwing out and the new ones are already in. One more exciting leaf that I have to show you is on my yellow variegated Monstera deliciosa, because it grew a new leaf since being imported from Indonesia. I don't see a lot of variegation on it yet. Might just have a little bit in this corner. Focus on the plant! If you don't know, yellow variegation comes in very slowly. So first the leaf just looks fully green, or a little bit yellow in this case. And then slowly you'll start to see it fading into the variegated parts like you see here. And then once it's a little bit older, it actually is very clear yellow variegation. There are spider webs everywhere, but we don't care, it's not about cleaning the house, although my boyfriend would disagree. You can also use this fertilizer for semi-hydro. So this is the semi-hydro mix by Soil Ninja, and I love how it sounds when you water it. Also, I may have just damaged this leaf by dropping my camera on it. Jacqueline, already such a tricky plant, and now I'm throwing a huge camera on it. This glorious is actually one of the plants that we're going to take care of. So we're popping that into my crate of collecting plants to go outside and take care of. From the terrarium, I'm taking the yellow variegated Adansoni. I think we're going to put it on a moss pole. Also, it can use a repot. I was checking my propagation boxes to see if there's anything in here that needs repotting. So far it looks pretty good. Look at that new leaf. That's a Bessier, species Affinity Bessier hybrid. And then in this other box we also have some amazing new leaves, like this regale leaf. Hello. This is my little baby regale. The big one lives upstairs. Then we have this unknown hybrid, which actually has no Forgetti in it. I just heard from the person who gave it to me. This is 0 chance Forgetti. So this is just a mutation that happened with the closed sinus. There's a new leaf on Alfonso as well. This is my Forgetti, the actual one. And this is a hybrid that I got from Myrte. This is a hybrid of the Queen Anthurium and a no ID. And it looks pretty cool, I think. Look at that shape. So different. Oh, and this guy, I don't know what he's doing, but only white leaves. Give me some green, please. I took out these seedlings. There's a Magnificum hybrid and a Forgetti, because I think they might want to be repotted. But I don't know if we'll have time for that today, because there is a lot to do. I selected a few things as prizes for my Planty event. This is a little Species Affinity Bessier hybrid. And then this, I'm very excited. I just took a cutting of my beautiful Hoya clemensiorum. It's actually quite big, and I have a leaf that's even bigger in my little terrarium. Exciting. And I got myself a plant last week on the plant market that I haven't showed you yet. So I thought before we head outside, I will show you it. Look at this leaf weight. Body for scale. This is my new plant, Polly, my Anthurium pallidiflorum. And here is the newest leaf. It's a little bit crumpled, but it seems to be flattening out nicely. And I'm so excited to grow it. It looks so cool. I almost forgot. I also actually wanted to give you some tips for watering, especially if you have ADHD or you're a little bit more less organized, let's say. This is taking forever, but that's the case with me with repots. I'm really sorry if you don't enjoy this beginning part. I will also be answering some questions while I'm repotting. So there's a few plants that show you very clearly when they are thirsty, and one of them, in my opinion, is the Scindapsus. Scindapsus, Pictus, I don't know which kind this is, but as soon as it's thirsty, the leaves kind of curl up. Right now it's looking great. It's not thirsty at all. The leaves are flat. One of the main things I learned since creating these high shelves is that if you cannot see the soil, so into the pot, take the pot down to water or it will be a huge mess. Because this one, for example, is easy to overpour and then leak fertilizer all over your nice bedding. It takes a bit more time, but it's definitely worth it. And it's definitely also growing really well. Vicky is growing well. Look at this guy. Oh, I really love this plant now that it's growing well. I love it so much. Anyway, quick plant update. No, that's not what we're here for. Focus. I wanted to show you this on my Anthurium leaf. This is a velvet mask Anthurium. And anytime it gets thirsty, the new leaf starts to crumple up like this, as if it doesn't have enough moisture to flatten out completely. You can see it here as well on this older leaf that is hardened off like that even. So I think I should try and be a little bit more on top of the watering because it can look amazing when it's flat. Hopefully this will recover. Stay. Okay. This is dangerous. There's a few very scary things because these are some of my most valued plants, both in money but also in how much I love them. So we have Gigas that needs to be repotted. We have Glorious that needs to get everything. The Glorious, I'm actually very excited, even though this is a ripped leaf. It got stuck and I didn't see it. It has just switched from a petiolar sheath to a cataphyll here. So from now on, the leaves are gonna size up probably a little bit quicker. So we're gonna lengthen the pole because it's almost at the end of the pole. And then I'm probably gonna chop it as well because it's now 2 sizes of pole and then it will be 3. And that's a little bit too long and wobbly. Oopsie. Okay, taller than I thought. I have several cuttings in water, some really, really nice ones, including a Florida Beauty. It's already full. Yellow variegated Alocasia frydek corms that we're gonna pot up because they are growing actively. We have this beautiful blackjack Anthurium that needs repotting desperately. Has so many roots that I can't even place it down normally. Look at this. This really needs a repot. And I think it's also gonna size up more once we repot it. That's what I've learned with Anthurium. If you want bigger leaves, you give them a bigger pot quite quickly when they are root bound. And then they size up a lot. The frydek, the actual frydek that I already showed you. And the yellow variegated Adansoni cuttings. My hands are full. My hands are full. Help. Help. My boyfriend is not home, so I have to do everything myself. No rescue. What shall we do first? I think this one. Or repotting because it's such a mess. Help me decide. Potting up comes after repots. Potting up comes first because it's less mess. Do you see why I normally don't film these? My brain. Let's start with the yellow variegated frydek corms. I'm gonna pot them up in semi-hydro because that's what works best for me. For Alocasia, I use the semi-hydro mix by Soil Ninja, the fine mix. I think I'm gonna pot the 3 biggest one in this one and then the 4 small ones in this one. They're rooting and growing upwards, which is a little bit annoying. So we're gonna have to pour some semi-hydro on top and hopefully get them to go down. Okay, next. The small ones are a little bit easier. They have less roots growing upwards for sure. I'm so curious to see if these plants will become yellow variegated like the mama. All the plants in the pot. Okay, gross. Did you see that? Plants in the pot. I squeezed it right in the rotted part. It's all snot. I want to rinse this off a little bit. I got some snot on you from your brother. I'm so sorry. Second try. I guess we can space them out a little bit more since there was only 3. I don't even know what I was saying. Something about if these will be yellow variegated or not. We will have to wait and see, but usually the chances of the little ones being variegated are very small. Luckily, I also love these as normal plants. The last step is to water them. So of course we're doing that with my fertilizer water. This one does not have holes, so that's easy to water. For this one, I'll use a little tray. Whoop! A big tray, maybe. Ah. Next, let's pot up the Florida Beauty. This may not look like much, but it was a huge, beautiful Florida Beauty. I had it in here. You can actually see the variegation a little bit. Do you see the lines? Really nice. Unfortunately, this did not root very well for me, so it looks a little bit sad, but there's now new roots. So we're potting this up and seeing what it does. Okay, that looks great. Florida Beauty, check. The sun is really starting to mess up my plans. I hope the lighting is okay. This is a yellow variegated syngonium that is fully yellow. Upstairs, I have the normal plant. I cut the top off because it was fully yellow, and hopefully it's going to grow better. But I thought we might as well try to grow this. I'm also supposed to be answering some questions that you guys asked on Instagram. I often post question boxes on there. Plant with Roos. Several people asked about my favorite plant shops online and garden centers, etc. And on my website there is a tab called favorites. When you click on there, you'll see basically, hopefully, all the answers to any of your questions. That was my goal. But also my favorite planty places, including botanical gardens, online shops, real life shops, and more. And then if you scroll a little bit more down, you'll see some companies that I recommend with discount codes that I have for them, sometimes affiliate links. And below that, there is also my Amazon storefront links, both to the US and to Germany for Europe. And if you're interested, there's also a link to book a plant consult with me and to join my Patreon or YouTube membership. I hope that helps. Pot it up. We'll see how that goes. The other ones are Scindapsus cuttings because it was getting so long. I was kind of in the way of everything. My first time ever propagating Scindapsus, and they rooted really fast. So I'm impressed. Ooh, kind of interesting. It seems like they only grow roots from the nodes on this one. So other plants can actually root from the stem, Hoya and Epipremnum and stuff. These seem to only root from the node part. Learn something new every day. Maybe all of you knew that already, because I'm very late to the Scindapsus growing party. It is getting full. The last glass is 3 plants that I got from an import. This is a variegated Rephotophora I got from Indonesia. It's growing well. This is all new, but the leaves are very small, so I think I'm just going to pot it up and hopefully it will grow better in soil. And this is the other variegated Rephotophora, and this is the moment that my mic died. And I did not notice. So hello, it is voiceover Roos. How beautiful are these leaves though? They're mostly white with little specks of green, which I love. I potted it up, and then we also had a variegated Anthurium little baby that I potted up. This beautiful gigas I thought was super root bound, but once I pulled it out of the pot, most of the soil just fell away and the 2 roots it had basically grew straight through the pot to the bottom. So I just gave it fresh new soil, but put it back in the same pot, making sure that the roots did not touch the bottom. So hopefully they're gonna grow around in the soil instead of straight down again. Indoors, I can't water my moss poles like this, but when I'm in the greenhouse, I love doing it this way. It's so much more effective. I also watered all the other fresh repots, so they're ready to go. And I found a bigger pot for the blackjack Anthurium. Here I'm explaining that I grow them in soil, but that I use some moss at the top so that the nice aerial roots like I show here are guided down into the soil, except it didn't work here. But generally it really helps to activate the aerial roots and then also to help guide them down to the soil. Okay, I switched us around. Let's carefully unpot this baby. Pulling, that root had to go. Sorry, buddy. Look at this beautiful root. I'm sorry. But there luckily are plenty more. I'm gonna try and pot this a little bit lower into the soil. That looks so much better. Look, you can see now all the roots are back in the soil. Yep, unfortunately that was the mic dying again. I do change it soon to a different mic system, so we'll get it back. But this is my beautiful frydek. The soil looks pretty good, but it is a little bit tricky to grow, for me at least, Alocasia in soil. That's why I'm moving them to semi-hydro, a little bit more stable. Whoa, look at the roots at the bottom here. It seems to be pretty well rooted for most Alocasia that come from a shop. First, I removed as much of the soil as possible with my hands. By the way, look at these cute corms at the bottom. I just realized I'm also missing all the answers to all the questions. Like someone asked, how long can you keep a plant bare root for? And I would say not very long. Here I'm showing that I'm putting some of the old soil on top of the roots, or a plastic baggie or something to keep the humidity a little bit more high so that the roots do not dry out. Then I got the garden hose and sprayed the roots down to remove as much of the soil as possible. Okay, I had to switch the microphone, but hopefully you can hear me properly. Look at this beauty. The sun is here again already. I moved spots to hide from the sun. It did not work. Look at these beautiful clean roots. And if you look in here, which feels a little bit inappropriate, we see a bunch of little corms growing, so I'm really happy with that. We're potting it up in this pot. I think I like to have see-through pots for the plants that I'm least sure about. And we're using semi-hydro. Someone asked, do you ever repot a newly bought plant straight away? And this is the answer. I am doing that with Alocasia right now. But in general, I prefer to wait a little bit and let the plant acclimate to my space before I repot them. Unless they start to look really sad, of course. And then I check the roots immediately. I really hope it will adjust well. I know it's going to take a little bit of a shock with the transition, but at least my Jacqueline is still alive and I've not been able to keep that alive before. Okay, I'm quickly going to move these inside because we don't want them to burn in the direct sun. And then we're getting to the moss poles. I have moved us to our outdoor kitchen area because it is still in the shade. The handy thing here is that we have water from around the corner. Actually, I could do this in the greenhouse as well, but here we have a little sink. I have some moss poles ready. I also found this. This is a philodendron soderoy that is living in the greenhouse. And even with just this little stake, it is already upgrading to nicer size leaves. And I think it deserves a moss pole. I still had this moss pole from a philodendron that died in the greenhouse this winter. So I'm just gonna make it wet, because it is bone dry. With any moss pole, you try to connect the parts that will aerial root, that will grow roots. So we're gonna probably attach it like this, where the nodes are touching the thingy. Actually, since this is round, it can probably have a few more plants. Can you not fall over? Wait. Farbio, so useful for so many things. I have some cute little Brontianum here that are actually struggling a little bit because they're getting stuck. I think they can do with the extra humidity of a moss pole. So I think I'm gonna tie them up first. This is just a piece of like garden wire type thing. As you can see here, all the different parts are touching the moss pole. So that will help it to root into the moss pole. I think this is gonna look so cute once it starts to grow. Shall we do the big one next? I'm kind of putting it off because it's the scariest part. First of all, this is the plant. At the bottom here we have a little Brontianum. Can we focus on it? No! And it is a little bit weird in the pot. I have it in a tiny pot, but it was falling over, so I have Ceramis on the outside there to keep it steady. So let's see what happens when I try to pull this out. Nothing really. Nice roots. As you can see this way, it did size up quite a lot, even though since I've seen Jan's, I'm not super impressed. So the first thing I'm probably going to do is cut this one so I can take these two apart and then we can lengthen it at the top again. I think this node is still rooted into this top one, so we're going to cut it just here. I'm a little bit scared, but we're just going to do it. There we go. Cut. This is going to dry out a little bit now while I take the two apart. This is the scary part. Actually, it's not at all. Okay. Nice. So there is no roots at the bottom here, which makes it a little bit easier. I thought they might be crawling all the way down. Let's see how attached this is. I don't know if this is very smart or very dumb what I'm doing right now, but we're doing it. Okay. Whoa. What am I doing? I don't know if this is the right decision. This top cutting has really nice roots that were rooting into the moss pole. Can you see them? There. But then this node did not have any roots. This had two, and this bottom one had a few. This is a much bigger risk for this plant because it went from a lot of roots to just these few. But I have faith in you, buddy. You can do it. And then I also have a few nice cuttings for my friends to share, because sharing is awesome. Maybe I should root this in water first, actually. I think that would be better. Okay, this is going in water. Then I grabbed the yellow variegated Adansonii cuttings and separated them from each other. These are the two nicest ones that I'm putting on this bigger pole. And then I have two that I'm not sure about. This one can be fully yellow or can be fully green. This one the same. And I've had a lot of leaves die off. So here you can see this does have variegation, but it's not great genes. And then we have this tiny adorable one that I'm gonna nurse to hopefully happier days. So small. Sure. Okay. Whoa, that is super root bound. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can you see the back of this? It is just a mat of roots, which means that this moss pole is full of roots, which means we're not gonna actually pop the other one in here. I like to use these little hair clips to attach plants to the poles. It's very handy. This is a variegated skinned apsis that I cut into 2 pieces, and both of them seem to be growing. It's adorable. So we're gonna pot them on a moss pole. The roots look good. I got this as one plant, but I cut it into 2 pieces, and both of them are growing now. This is the top cutting. It made this leaf for me, and this one has a new growth point here. So this is the new growth point, and here is the tiny little adorable root that is still happy. So I'm gonna try and attach that to the pole, or connect it to the pole really. Clip. There we go. So now we can pot it up. I'm gonna keep it in the same pot because it doesn't have much roots. Now if I show you like this, you can see it looks kind of nice. I'm just gonna water to get the soil a bit down. So this is not watered with the fertilizer now, but that's okay, I'll do it next round. Okay, I like it. These 2 weird yellow variegated Adansonii I'm gonna pot together and just keep an eye on them. I'm gonna pot them up in soil and grow them out in the living room for a little while to see if that humidity and stuff is better. All right, there's 2 more things to do, so it's not long now. Sorry if this video is going way too long. One is to give little poles to these Raphidophora that you actually can see kind of nice now. All I do is take a stick, stick it next to the plant, and make sure that it connects here. And then you can tie it up with these little plant Velcro bits that I love using. I have them on my Amazon shop and probably linked in the description as well if you like. So that gives the plant a little bit of... Can I do this with one hand while I talk to you? So that gives the plant a little bit of support. It's not a moss pole, but it's a support. So hopefully now these leaves will start to grow a little bit bigger. Same with this one. Can you see how nice this is now? It's almost like a Whipple Way. I like it. It's very white. When the old leaves are just like this. So very different, a little bit minty, I guess. So same here. I'm gonna stick it in next to where it's growing. Plant Velcro. Loop it around, stick it. Whoa, with one hand too. Haha, there we go. The last one we're doing this with is Luna, my big Monstera. Come a little bit closer. Here you can see her nice stem. So far I've just propped moss against it so that the roots are all growing into the soil, which worked really nicely. But now she's really starting to reach up. So I have a pretty big bamboo stake actually. It's a little bit fat. I'm not sure if I'm getting that in the soil, but we're gonna try. Might break some roots. But that's okay. So now with the pole, I actually have something to push the moss in between and a little bit over top of. And it is not needed yet, but once this gets a little bit longer, I can also tie this to the moss pole. So this is already giving support, even though it's not even touching the plant yet. I got a little bit of more fresh moss to push in between. Basically, you're creating a moss pole as you go this way. So it's kind of handy if you have a ready moss pole, then you can do that. But that means that I have to repot the plant. And this way, We're just building it along as it needs it. Once the moss dries, it can fall off a little bit, so I use plant Velcro. Oh, okay. Then around to fasten a little bit more to the pole, and that should do the trick. One question was, how do I fertilize the big terrarium behind me and how often? And is there any mineral buildup? I actually don't fertilize in there very often yet, but because of this brand, I am going to a little bit more. Their nitrogen bio boost sounds like a really good one to use in the terrarium because it helps the leaves to grow and it's very effective. And we need that in the terrarium because I actually don't water the plants in there very often because the humidity is so high that the soil does not dry out. So spraying the fertilizer on the leaves is actually a really smart idea that I kind of forgot was an option. I don't know. And I remembered because they sent me this cute little spray thingy that says Plant Mom. Very adorable. So we're gonna put the Bio Boost in there. Let's see, 14 drops of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 7. I almost did it wrong. 7. And I'm also gonna put the micro complex in because I actually have thrips in there right now. And it's really annoying. And it's messing up my queen, which of course we don't want. 3 drops of this one. 1, 2, 3. Wow, it's so little. Close, shake. If you're new here, this is my big terrarium. Look at her. So beautiful. I have to say, I have used this spray bottle before from them. It's not my favorite, but that might also have to do with me normally using this automated machine. I asked them about the spray bottle and they said that sometimes, unfortunately, the nozzle doesn't work properly. If you have this bottle and it doesn't work, you can contact them and they will send you a new nozzle. So it should work much better than it did for me. Since we are here, I think it's good to answer the last question. Do you struggle with high energy bill with all the grow lights? I actually have like 10, maybe more different grow lights. I have fans. I have a heating element in here as well, and a lot of heat mats in winter. And I don't really know how much it costs me. I don't think it's a lot, but also we have 7 solar panels on the roof and we are just a family of 2. So we don't really look at the energy bill because usually it's very low. Does that make sense? But I think most of them are LED lights and I think most of them are super high quality. Older grow lights that would take up a lot of energy and also create a lot of heat. If you have a LED light, I think it's not that much. Like these cheap ones over here, they are 10 euros each. And they are really, they never get really warm. I think they don't take that much energy. And I think the high quality grow lights also don't. Here's me standing in the middle of all my grow lights. I would definitely recommend to just buy one and try it. Get an LED one and maybe pay attention to the bill, see if it spikes a lot. We did notice actually when we were trying to heat, hello? When we were trying to heat the greenhouse in winter with an electric heater, we definitely did see a huge spike from that, so we stopped using it. So maybe I should do 1 month with all the grow lights off, and then I can measure the difference. But also I don't really want to know, and I don't want to switch them off that long because my plants will not be happy, especially the Hoya shelf over here. And the terrariums as well. No. Generally, by the way, we are below average for a 2-people house. So I don't know if that helps. And that is finally it for all the chores. If you did them with me, I hope you got a lot of stuff done. And again, a big thank you to Farbio for sponsoring this video. If you want to try them out, use my code PLANTWITHROOS for a 30% discount. Really awesome. So far they have these 3 products, but there is more coming. So keep an eye on their website or their Instagram if you like. For me, it's time to go clean up this huge mess that I've created. If you enjoyed this video and you're still here with me, give it a thumbs up, subscribe below if you haven't already. And thank you so much for sticking this out with me. It's been a long one. Bye friends!